I spent 4 years trying to escape a house where every dress was measured by the ruler of control. On graduation day, they set fire to the dress I'd sewn myself right there in the school parking lot, and my aunt smirked. She deserved it. I still walked across that stage, wearing a borrowed gown from a stranger. That night, I began rewriting my family's rules. In the language of law, evidence, and justice. My name is Nora Hart, and I'm standing in the Benson Hall parking lot watching my mother hold a lighter to the hem of my graduation dress while my father stares at his shoes like they hold the secrets of the universe. The dress deep navy, square neck, knee length took me 3 weeks to sew in secret, working after midnight shifts at the data center where nobody knew my family's rules about appropriate attire. "You think you're so clever," Mom says, her voice sharp as winter ice in Willow Ridge. "Hiding this thing in your car." The flame catches. Blue fabric curls into black ash. I'm 28 years old, 4 years older than most graduates because I had to work full-time to pay my way through Ohio State's data science program. 4 years of sneaking textbooks past Mom's inspections. 4 years of deleting acceptance emails before she could see them and declare them too ambitious for a girl who should focus on finding a decent husband. Aunt Colleen holds up her phone, recording everything. She's wearing her campaign button, Traditional Values for Willow Ridge Schools, and that smirk that's haunted every family dinner since I was 12. Should have listened to your mother, Nora. Girls who defy their parents always end up burning themselves. The smoke stings my eyes, or maybe that's something else. I think about the email in my pocket from Silverline Data Lab, the job offer that starts at $90,000 a year. I think about the valedictorian speech I'm supposed to give in 45 minutes. The one where I thank my family for their support. She deserved it, Colleen says, loud enough for the gathering crowd of students to hear. My hands shake as I grab my backpack from the ground, trying to salvage what's left of the dress. The flames have eaten through the hem, but haven't reached the bodice yet. A girl I've never met runs over with her water bottle, helps me douse the fire. The fabric is ruined, black scorch marks climbing up like diseased veins. "Here," she says, pulling off her own graduation gown. "Take mine. I already walked yesterday for the nursing school ceremony." I want to tell her no, that I'll figure something out, but Mom laughs. It's the laugh she used when she found my prom dress junior year and cut it to pieces with her sewing scissors. The laugh from when she discovered my college applications and burned them in the kitchen sink, telling me community college was more appropriate for girls like you. Dad finally looks up. Ray Hart, the man who taught me to tie my shoes and ride a bike, who used to sneak me books when Mom wasn't looking. Now he just nods slowly, like this is all perfectly reasonable. Like setting your daughter's graduation dress on fire in public is just another Tuesday in the Hart household. "You've embarrassed this family enough," Mom says, brushing ash off her hands. "Parading around campus like you're better than us. That professor filling your head with nonsense about potential and achievement." I slip on the borrowed gown. It's too long, dragging on the asphalt, but it'll have to do. Security is walking over now, probably alerted by the smoke. Behind them, I spot Dr. Rodriguez from the computer science department and someone in a Silverline Data Lab polo shirt. They flew in specifically to see their new hire give the valedictorian speech. "Is everything all right here?" the security guard asks. Colleen immediately shifts into her politician voice. "Just a small accident, officer. Family celebration got a little out of hand. You know how emotional these graduations can be." The guard looks at the scorched remains of my dress on the ground, then at me in the borrowed gown, then at the crowd of witnesses with their phones out. "Ma'am, I'm going to need to file a report." Mom's face goes white. In our family, appearances are everything. Public scrutiny is the enemy. That's why every bruise was always an accident. Every tear's explained away as allergies. "That won't be necessary," Dad says, finally finding his voice. "We're family." "Family," I repeat, tasting the word like bile. I look at the three of them, the trinity of control that's defined my entire life. Mom with her measuring tape morality, Dad with his enabling silence, Colleen with her camera-ready cruelty, building her political career on the values she violates behind closed doors. The clock tower chimes. 15 minutes until I'm supposed to line up for the processional. 15 minutes to decide if I'm going to keep playing by their rules or finally write my own. I straighten the borrowed gown and look directly at Colleen's phone camera, still recording. Yes, I say clearly. She's right. I deserved it. I deserved exactly what I got today. What they don't understand yet is that I'm not talking about the dress. The security guard's report sits in my apartment now, 3 hours after the ceremony, next to the Silverline Data Lab offer letter and my summa cum laude certificate. I trace my fingers over the official stamp. Incident report destruction of personal property. Such clinical words for years of systematic control. I pull up my laptop and open the folder I've been building since freshman year. Screenshots, emails, text messages at 2:30 a.m. telling me I'm worthless. The photo from junior year when Mom found out I'd been tutoring calculus inappropriate for a young woman to be alone with male students and locked me out until dawn in January. My fingers were so numb I couldn't hold a pencil for a week. The scholarship letter from sophomore year stares back at me from the screen. $20,000 I had to decline because Mom threatened to show up at the awards ceremony and tell everyone what kind of daughter refuses to help her family with bills. The bills, of course, were for Colleen's first campaign, the one where she promised to bring traditional family values back to education. My phone buzzes. Sarah from the data center saw the video. Are you okay? The video, of course. In our digital age, cruelty gets uploaded in real time. I open Instagram and there it is. Colleen's post. Sometimes tough love is necessary. Standing with my sister-in-law teaching hard lessons. Family values. Parenting. Done right. Willow Ridge School Board. 200 likes already. Comments from her supporters about how kids today need discipline and this is what's wrong with entitled millennials. I screenshot everything. The dress, what's left of it, lies on my kitchen table. The salvageable parts still smell like smoke and broken promises. I remember the night I bought the fabric. 3:20 a.m. after a 12-hour shift analyzing server logs. The elderly woman at the 24-hour fabric store had smiled when I told her it was for graduation. "Your parents must be so proud," she'd said. I'd sewn it in the break room at work, telling my manager I was working on a quilt for charity. Every stitch was an act of rebellion. The square neckline Mom would call suggestive. The knee-length hem she'd deem provocative. The deep navy she'd say was trying too hard to stand out. But it was mine. Paid for with my money. Sewn with my hands. Chosen by my own definition of appropriate. My laptop pings. An email from Dr. Rodriguez. "Nora, I wanted to check in after this afternoon's disturbing incident. The department is prepared to provide any support you need, including connecting you with campus legal services." Legal services. The words sit heavy in my mind. I open a new browser tab and start researching. Ohio Revised Code, Section 29009.05, Vandalism. Section 29117.221, Telecommunications Harassment for Colleen's Posts. The university's code of conduct regarding safety violations on campus property. My student loan statement glows on the second monitor, $48,000. Every penny mine because they refused to co-sign, refused to fill out FAFSA forms, told the financial aid office I was choosing to abandon family responsibilities. Oh, another memory surfaces senior year of high school. Mom found the early admission letter from MIT. She didn't burn it. She made me do it myself, standing over me in the kitchen while Colleen filmed. "For your own good," she'd said. "Those places aren't for people like us." The video probably still exists somewhere on Colleen's old phone, evidence of a pattern that started long before today. I pull out a legal pad and start writing 2012 prom dress destroyed. Forced to miss prom. 2013 MIT admission letter. Forced to burn 2016. Locked out in winter. Hospitalized for hypothermia. 2017, scholarship declined under threat. 2019 internship at Google sabotaged. Mom called them claiming I was mentally unstable, 2024. Today, each entry has evidence: photos, medical records, emails, text messages, years of data points that tell a story of systematic control, emotional abuse, and now, public destruction of property with conspiracy to harm my professional reputation. My phone rings. Mom, you will not pursue this, she says without preamble. You will tell that security guard it was a misunderstanding. You will delete whatever nonsense you're planning. Or what, I ask, genuinely curious what cards she thinks she still holds. Or you'll never see a penny of inheritance. You'll be cut off from this family forever. I almost laugh. Mom, you've held that over my head since I was 18. I've been financially independent for 4 years. And family. You set my graduation dress on fire in front of my future employers. That company won't want you when they find out what kind of person you really are. What kind is that? Ungrateful, defiant, a daughter who betrays her own mother. I look at the Silverline offer again. The background check already cleared. They know about my night shifts, my scholarship achievements despite family obstacles. Dr. Rodriguez had written in his recommendation about my remarkable resilience and professional integrity under personal challenges. I have to go. Mom, I have a report to file. Nora Hart, if you... I hang up. Then I block her number. Dad's, Colleen's. For the first time in my life, the silence isn't heavy with dread, it's full of possibility. The smell hits first acrid, chemical, wrong. Navy fabric curling into itself like a dying thing. I'm frozen in the Benson Hall parking lot, watching my mother hold the lighter steady while the flames climb up the dress I'd hidden in my car trunk for 3 weeks. This is what happens when you lie, Mom says, her voice carrying across the gathering crowd. Students stop mid-stride, phones emerging from pockets like synchronized swimmers breaking the surface. Sneaking around, hiding clothes like some common whore. The word lands like a slap. Always that word when I stepped outside her narrow definitions. When I wore jeans to study group. When I stayed late at the library. When I existed as anything other than her paper doll daughter. Dad stands 3 feet away, hands in his pockets, watching the asphalt like it might swallow him whole. His silence roars louder than the crackling fabric. I used to think his quiet was different from agreement. I was wrong. Evelyn, that's enough, he mutters. But it's nothing. It's air. It's the same nothing he said when she cut up my prom dress, when she threw away my art supplies, when she told 12-year-old me that smart girls were ugly girls and ugly girls ended up alone. The flames reach the bodice now. 3 weeks of hand stitching, $70 in fabric saved from 5 months of skipping lunch. The dress was supposed to be my declaration that I made it through college despite them, that I earned my degree on overnight shifts and determination, that I could define beauty and appropriateness for myself. Colleen moves closer with her phone, angling for better light. Are you getting this? Mom asks her. Every second, Colleen confirms. This will be perfect for my next campaign video about the importance of parental authority. A student I recognize from my database management class gasps. Is that Nora Hart, the valedictorian? The word spreads like the fire destroying my dress. Valedictorian. The girl giving the speech in. I check my phone 38 minutes. The girl whose parents are currently committing a crime in full view of half the graduating class. Hey, a campus security guard pushes through the crowd. You can't have open flames on university property. Mom drops the dress, but it's too late. It's a burning heap on the asphalt, synthetic fibers melting into toxic smoke. My eyes water from the fumes, I tell myself. Just the fumes. She deserved it, Colleen announces, loud and clear, making sure her phone captures her own words. Girls who disrespect their families deserve consequences. The security guard is already on his radio, calling for backup in the fire department. Another guard arrives with a fire extinguisher, coating the remains of my dress in white foam that looks like snow in May. A stranger pushes through the crowd, the nursing student from earlier, without a word. She shrugs off her graduation gown and hands it to me. "Nobody deserves this," she says quietly, then louder, making sure Colleen's camera catches it. "Nobody deserves to have their accomplishments burned by people who should celebrate them." I take the gown with shaking hands. It's too long, meant for someone 5 inches taller, but it's clean and whole and offered with kindness, 3 things my family has never given me. "This is assault," someone says. I turn to see Dr. Martinez from Student Affairs. "I'm witnessing assault and destruction of property." "It's a family matter." Dad finally speaks, his voice finding strength now that authority figures are involved. "Ray Hart, always worried about what the neighbors think, suddenly concerned about appearances. Not on university property. It's not," Dr. Martinez replies. She turns to me. "Ms. Hart, do you want to press charges?" The question hangs in the air like smoke. Mom's face shifts from righteous anger to calculation. She's realizing, maybe for the first time, that I'm not 12 anymore. I'm not financially dependent. I'm not trapped in her house with nowhere to go. "She wouldn't dare," Mom says, but her voice wavers. I look at the foam-covered remains of my dress. 3 weeks of work, $70, 4 years of symbols all burning down to this moment. I think about the Silverline representatives in the auditorium, waiting to see their newest data analyst give her valedictorian speech. I think about the $48,000 in student loans that bought my freedom. I think about every meal skipped, every night shift worked, every dream deferred but not destroyed. "Yes," I say clearly. "I want to press charges." The crowd murmurs. Phones capture every angle. Colleen lowers her phone for the first time, perhaps realizing she's been documenting evidence. "And I want a restraining order," I add, my voice growing stronger. "Effective immediately." Mom lunges forward, but the security guard steps between us. "You ungrateful little ma'am, I need you to step back," the guard says firmly. I pull the borrowed gown over my professional outfit, the one I'd hidden under casual clothes this morning, knowing something like this might happen. The outfit I bought for my first day at Silverline. Navy blazer, white blouse, clothes that say I'm worth $90,000 a year and nobody's victim. "I have a speech to give," I tell Dr. Martinez, "but after that, I'll file every report necessary." As campus police arrive to take statements, I walk toward Benson Hall. Each step feels like shedding skin, leaving behind the girl who sewed in secret and hid acceptance letters. Behind me, I hear Mom screaming about lawsuits and inheritance and family loyalty. Ahead, I see my future complicated, uncertain, but finally, mine. The auditorium lights blur through my tears as I stand behind the podium, but my voice doesn't waver. I've just finished my valedictorian speech, not the one I'd originally written about family support and gratitude, but one about resilience and choosing your own definitions of success. The crowd erupts in applause. Dr. Rodriguez nods approvingly from the faculty section. The Silverline Data Lab representatives stand and clap. Backstage afterward, everything crystallizes into sharp focus. "Ms. Hart," the Silverline HR director approaches, concern creasing her forehead. "We heard about the incident in the parking lot. Are you all right?" "I will be," I say, and for the first time, I mean it. The head of campus security appears with a clipboard. "We need your full statement for the report. The fire department has already filed their own violations: illegal open flame, destruction of property valued over $50, creating a public hazard." I sit in the makeshift office they've set up in the green room, recounting every detail while a stenographer types. The security footage from 3 different angles, 16 witness statements already collected, Colleen's own video, which she'd been forced to surrender as evidence. "Your aunt posted the video publicly before we confiscated her phone," the officer notes. "We've screenshot everything for documentation." Perfect. Her 200 supporters are now 200 witnesses to a crime. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. I check it. It's the nursing student who lent me her gown. I gave my statement. So did everyone from my clinical group who saw it. "We're with you." Dr. Rodriguez enters with the department chair. Nora, the university is prepared to support any legal action you choose to take. This happened on our property, during our event. We have a zero-tolerance policy for violence and intimidation. It's not just about today, I hear myself saying. The words flow like data finally finding its proper structure. This is a pattern. Years of documented abuse, control, and escalation. Today was just the first time they did it publicly. I pull out my phone and show them the folder. Screenshots dating back 6 years, medical records, email threats, the paper trail of a family that mistook control for love and obedience for respect. There's more. I continue. My aunt is running for the Willow Ridge School Board. She's building her entire campaign on family values and parental authority. She filmed herself encouraging the destruction of my property. She posted it as an example of good parenting. The department chair's eyes widen. That's extraordinary hypocrisy. It's evidence, I correct. Data points that reveal a pattern of behavior inconsistent with positions of authority over children. That night, I sit in my apartment with 3 laptops open. One for legal research, one for documenting evidence, one for strategic planning. The plan takes shape like code organizing itself into elegant functions. Legal protocol file criminal charges for destruction of property. Pursue a restraining order against Mom, Dad, and Colleen. Civil suit for damages not just the dress, but the pattern of intentional infliction of emotional distress. Administrative action work with university security on trespass orders. Coordinate with Willow Ridge Fire Department on safety violations. File complaints with appropriate oversight bodies. Public accountability. Compile Colleen's public statements about family values. Document the contradiction between her campaign platform and her actions. Prepare a facts-only statement for release after legal filing. I create spreadsheets, timelines, cross-referenced documentation. Every skill I learned in data science, now applied to the architecture of accountability. My phone rings at 11:43 p.m. Mom's number appears despite the block she's calling from someone else's phone. "You're destroying this family," she hisses when I answer. "No," I reply calmly. "I'm documenting its destruction. There's a difference. We gave you everything. You gave me trauma responses and therapy bills. You gave me the belief that love meant control. You gave me a $70 dress in ashes and a viral video of my humiliation. If you pursue this, you'll have no one." I look around my apartment, sparse but clean, purchased with my own money, decorated with my own choices. I'd rather have no one than have people who set me on fire and call it love. "Your father wants to speak with you." There's rustling, then Dad's voice, weak and distant. "Nora, please, think about what you're doing. Your mother was just trying to..." "To what?" "Dad, teach me a lesson. Show me my place. Burn away the parts of me that don't fit her mold. She loves you." "No. She loves the idea of a daughter who doesn't exist. She loves control. She loves her image. But she doesn't love me. And watching you enable it taught me that passive abuse is still abuse." Silence. Then, "You're making a mistake." "The only mistake I made was waiting 28 years to stop this." I hang up and open a new document. Timeline of events for legal counsel. My fingers fly across the keyboard, each keystroke a small act of revolution. By dawn, I'll have everything ready. By next week, the law will speak louder than their matches ever could. The burned dress sits in an evidence bag by my door, waiting to testify. Even destroyed, it's more powerful than when it was whole. Now it's proof. Now it's a weapon forged from its own ashes. I title my final document, Strategic Response to Systematic Familial Abuse, a Data-Driven Approach to Justice. For the first time in my life, I'm not asking for permission to exist. I'm demanding consequences for those who tried to burn that existence away. The Lakeside County Civil Rights Center operates out of a converted Victorian house, painted purple with yellow trim colors that would make my mother physically recoil. I meet my pro bono lawyer, Jessica Thornton, in a room lined with law books and photos of successful cases. "Your documentation is exceptional," Jessica says, scrolling through my digital files. "Most clients come with memories and feelings. You've brought me data, timestamps, and a chain of evidence that would make a prosecutor weep with joy. I've spent 3 days organizing everything." The nursing student, Emma, sent me her video clearer than Colleen's, showing Mom's face as she held the lighter. 14 other witnesses have provided statements. The security footage from 4 different angles captures everything in high definition. "The restraining order is straightforward," Jessica continues. But this school board situation with your aunt, that's where we can create real consequences." I pull out my laptop and show her Colleen's campaign website. "Family First Protecting Our Children's Values" sprawls across the header. Her platform includes parental authority and discipline, traditional family structures, and zero tolerance for rebellious behavior. And here's her Instagram post from graduation day. I add, playing the video she'd titled "Tough Love in Action." Jessica's eyes sharpen. She published evidence of her own crime and called it good parenting. 2,300 views, 412 likes, 97 comments supporting her stance on discipline. I've screenshot everything. We spend 4 hours building the case. Jessica connects me with fire safety investigators who detail the violation's open flame within 50 feet of a building, creating toxic fumes from synthetic materials, endangering public safety. The fine alone could reach $5,000. "But that's just the beginning," Jessica says. "The university is pursuing their own charges. Your parents are now banned from campus pending a formal hearing." I drive to the Willow Ridge Fire Department next. Chief Barnes reviews the report with barely concealed disgust. "Ma'am, if someone had been burned by flying debris, if that fire had spread to the nearby vehicles..." He shakes his head. "We're filing formal violations. Your mother will receive a summons." I hand him Colleen's video. She recorded and distributed evidence of the safety violation. His expression darkens further. "And she's running for school board where she'd oversee safety protocols for 23,000 students. Yes, we'll be in touch with the election board." That evening, I meet with Dr. Martinez from Student Affairs in her office. The walls are covered with degrees and photos of graduating students celebrating, not burning. "The university is issuing formal no trespass orders," she confirms. "Your parents and aunt are banned from all university property indefinitely. If they violate this, it's criminal trespass." "What about future ceremonies if I pursue graduate studies?" "They'll need written permission from both security and administration, which, given the circumstances..." She lets the sentence hang. My phone buzzes. Sarah from the data center. Local news picked up the story. "School board candidate filmed encouraging destruction of valedictorian's property." "You're trending." I check my laptop. The article includes Colleen's video, witness statements, and a quote from the fire department about reckless endangerment. The comments section is brutal parents questioning her judgment, teachers sharing concerns, voters promising to remember this in November. Jessica calls at 9:17 p.m. "The district attorney's office wants to meet tomorrow. They're considering criminal charges separate from your civil case." I spend the night preparing more documentation. Every text message where Mom threatened to destroy my belongings. The email where she told my high school guidance counselor I was too unstable for advanced classes. The voicemail from 2 years ago where Colleen said I needed to be put in my place. At 3:20 a.m., I find something I'd forgotten. A photo from my 16th birthday. Mom had burned my birthday cards from friends because they were too encouraging about college. Dad took the photo, Mom holding the lighter, smiling, while I cried in the background. He'd taken it to show me later as a lesson. This is what happens when you defy your mother. Now it's evidence of a decade-long pattern. I create a secure cloud backup of everything, with automatic copies sent to Jessica, Dr. Martinez, and a private server I've rented. If anything happens to my devices, the evidence survives. The next morning, I sit in Silverline's orientation, my future colleagues welcoming and professional. My manager pulls me aside during break. "We saw the news," she says carefully. "Are you okay? Do you need to adjust your start date?" No, I reply. I've waited 4 years for this job. They don't get to take this too. She nods approvingly. HR wants you to know we have excellent legal resources if you need support. We protect our people. Our people. The phrase sits warm in my chest. Not family by blood, but by choice and professional respect. That afternoon, I deliver flash drives to 3 different law offices, the fire department, the university police, and the election board. Each contains the complete file, Hart v. Hart, a case study in documented abuse. Emma texts me, saw the news article. The nursing program is sharing it as an example of standing up to abuse. You're helping people you don't even know. I look at the evidence bag holding my burned dress, now sealed and labeled with a case number. Every thread that burned is becoming something stronger, not fabric, but facts. Not a dress, but proof that even family can be held accountable. Jessica emails at 11:45 p.m. Motion for emergency restraining order filed. Hearing scheduled for Thursday. Criminal charges meeting confirmed for Friday. The school board has called an emergency session about Colleen's candidacy. 3 fronts, 3 approaches, 3 ways to ensure that she deserved it becomes the words that end their control. Not mine. The courthouse smells like old paper and floor wax. I sit beside Jessica in the restraining order hearing, watching Mom's face cycle through disbelief, rage, and something that might be fear. She's hired her own lawyer, a tired-looking man who keeps shuffling through papers like they might contain a miracle. Your Honor, Jessica begins. We're requesting emergency protective orders against Evelyn Hart, Ray Hart, and Colleen Matthews based on documented patterns of harassment, destruction of property, and public safety violations. The judge, a woman in her 60s with silver hair and sharp eyes, reviews the evidence on her tablet. The security footage plays silently on the court monitor, Mom with the lighter, the dress burning, Colleen filming and narrating her approval. This occurred at a public university graduation ceremony. The judge asks, Yes, Your Honor, in front of approximately 60 witnesses, including university staff and representatives from my client's new employer. Mom's lawyer stands. Your Honor, this was a family disagreement that got out of hand. My client was simply trying to set her daughter's graduation dress on fire. The judge's voice could freeze water. In public, while her sister-in-law filmed it as an example of good parenting. The fire department report appears on screen. Chief Barnes himself testifies via video link about the safety violations, the toxic fumes from synthetic fabric, the proximity to vehicles with gasoline tanks. Ms. Matthews posted this video to her campaign social media, Jessica continues, pulling up Colleen's Instagram. She explicitly endorsed the destruction of property as appropriate parental discipline. She's currently running for a position overseeing student safety protocols. Dad's testimony is exactly what I expected, mumbled non-answers, claims he didn't see clearly, suggestions that I'm overreacting to a small incident. The judge stops him mid-sentence. Mr. Hart, I have 4 different angles of security footage. You stood 3 feet away. You watched your wife commit a crime and did nothing to stop it. At 2:15 p.m., the judge issues her ruling. Emergency restraining orders are granted against all 3 respondents. They are to maintain a distance of 500 feet from Ms. Hart's residence, workplace, and person. Any violation will result in immediate arrest. Mom shoots up. You can't. Mrs. Hart, I also strongly recommend you seek anger management counseling. The court can provide references. But we're not done. The criminal charges meeting happens the next morning. The assistant district attorney, a young man named David Park, has the entire file spread across his conference table. Destruction of property over $200, reckless endangerment, conspiracy to commit harassment. He lists, Your aunt's video is particularly damaging. She filmed herself encouraging and approving a crime. What are the chances of conviction? I ask. With this evidence, I'd be surprised if they don't plea bargain to avoid trial. The Willow Ridge Fire Department files their own charges, $5,000 in fines for open flame violations, creating hazardous conditions, and endangering public safety. The university adds their own civil penalties for violating campus safety protocols during an official event. The financial pressure mounts. Mom calls from another blocked number at 11:30 p.m. The house refinance was denied because of these charges. She spits. Are you happy you're destroying our credit, our reputation? You destroyed my dress. On camera. Then posted it online as a parenting tutorial. That dress was inappropriate. According to whose standards? Yours. The ones that say a knee-length dress with a square neckline is provocative. The ones that burned my MIT acceptance letter. Silence. Oh yes, I continue. I included that in the pattern of behavior documentation. The judge has all of it. The real victory comes 3 days later. The Willow Ridge School Board calls an emergency session. I submit my evidence packet with a simple cover letter, members of the board. I provide this documentation not out of malice, but out of concern for the 23,000 students whose safety and well-being would be under Ms. Matthews' authority. A person who publicly endorses destroying a young woman's property as deserved punishment should not oversee policies affecting children. The meeting is public. I sit in the back row as they play Colleen's video on the projector screen. Parents gasp. Teachers shake their heads. A school principal testifies that several students have already expressed fear about Colleen potentially having authority over disciplinary matters. She filmed and celebrated the destruction of property. One board member says, she called it good parenting. What would she consider appropriate punishment for a dress code violation in our schools? Colleen tries to defend herself, claims it was taken out of context, that I'm conducting a smear campaign. Then they play her Instagram stories from the past year, 11 different posts about soft parenting creating weak children, and the need for harsher consequences in schools. Ms. Matthews, the board president, says, we've received 317 emails from concerned parents in the past 72 hours. Your campaign platform promises traditional discipline in schools. Can you explain what that means in light of this video? Colleen stammers about family values and respecting authority. Someone in the audience shouts, what about respecting students' property and dignity? The vote is unanimous. The board formally requests Colleen withdraw her candidacy, stating that her demonstrated judgment and public endorsement of property destruction make her unsuitable for a position of authority over minors. By the end of the week, the criminal court has scheduled hearings. The university has made their campus bans permanent. The fire department fines are due. And Colleen's campaign website displays only a brief message, campaign suspended indefinitely. Jessica calls as I'm preparing for my first day at Silverline. Your parents' lawyer reached out. They want to negotiate a plea deal to avoid trial. What are they offering? Full admission of guilt, payment of all damages and legal fees, completion of anger management programs, and agreement to make no contact for 5 years. 5 years of freedom. 5 years to build my life without looking over my shoulder. Tell them I'll consider it, I say. But I want one more thing, a written apology. Not to me privately, but filed with the court as part of the public record. Jessica laughs. You know that will kill them, having to admit wrongdoing in a permanent legal document. Yes, I reply, looking at my Silverline welcome packet. That's the point. The Willow Ridge Community Center buzzes with anticipation at 7:30 p.m. as school board candidates take their seats on the stage. Colleen sits at the far end, her usual campaign button replaced with a simple blue blazer. No more traditional values banner. No more confident smirk. Just a woman whose political aspirations are about to publicly implode. I don't attend in person, the restraining order ensures that, but Emma live streams it for me from the 3rd row. The place is packed, she texts. Standing room only. 3 days ago, I sent my evidence packet to the board, the PTA leadership, and the editor of the Willow Ridge Gazette, not as gossip or revenge, but as documented fact, information relevant to school board candidate Colleen Matthews' judgment and character. Every word carefully chosen. Every piece of evidence properly cited. The newspaper ran a factual article this morning. Questions arise about candidates' disciplinary philosophy after graduation incident. The moderator, A local news anchor doesn't waste time. Ms. Matthews, this week a video surfaced of you endorsing and filming the destruction of your niece's property at her college graduation. You posted it as an example of good parenting. Can you explain how this aligns with your platform of overseeing student welfare? Colleen grips the microphone. That was a private family matter taken out of context. You posted it publicly. The moderator interrupts, with the caption, "Tough love in action." That's not private, Ms. Matthews. A parent in the audience stands. I have a 17-year-old daughter. If she wore something you deemed inappropriate, would you consider burning it an acceptable response? Of course not. I would never. But you did. Another parent interjects. We all saw the video. You said, and I quote, "She deserved it." What else do our children deserve in your opinion? The other candidates distance themselves physically and rhetorically. 1. A retired teacher states clearly, anyone who publicly celebrates destroying a young person's property has no business making decisions about 23,000 students. Then comes the moment I've been waiting for. The PTA president stands with a tablet in hand. Ms. Matthews, we've received documentation showing this isn't an isolated incident. There are reports dating back years of you encouraging harsh, punitive measures against your niece, including one incident where she was locked out in winter weather and hospitalized for hypothermia. How do you respond? Colleen's face drains of color. Where did you? Those are lies, fabrications. Medical records aren't fabrications. The PTA president continues. Neither are text messages where you called your niece pathetic for pursuing higher education, or emails where you suggested her parents cut her off financially for getting ideas above her station. The crowd murmurs. Parents pull their children closer. Teachers exchange worried glances. A school principal stands next. Ms. Matthews, 3 of my students came to me in tears after seeing your video. They're terrified that if you're elected, any minor infraction could result in public humiliation. How can we trust you with vulnerable children when you've shown such cruelty to your own family? Colleen attempts damage control. I believe in discipline. Children today lack structure. Structure isn't synonymous with destruction. The retired teacher candidate interjects. Leadership isn't about burning down what you don't approve of. The moderator pulls up Colleen's campaign website on the projector. Your platform promises to restore authority and consequences to schools. In light of recent events, can you specify what consequences you envision? Before Colleen can answer, a high school student approaches the microphone. She's maybe 16, wearing the kind of modest dress my mother would approve of, but her voice carries steel. Ms. Matthews, I'm student body president at Willow Ridge High. We took a vote. 632 students signed a petition saying they don't feel safe with you having authority over us. How can you effectively serve when the students you'd oversee have already lost trust in you? The petition appears on screen. Name after name of young people who saw the video and recognized the threat it represented. Colleen stands abruptly. This is a coordinated attack. No, the moderator says firmly. This is accountability. You made a choice to publicly endorse and record an act of destruction. You posted it proudly. Now you're facing the consequences you claim to value so highly. Emma texts me. She's leaving walking out mid-debate. But the damage is done. The remaining candidates continue discussing actual education policy while Colleen's empty chair speaks volumes. The local news editor approaches parents for quotes. The PTA president announces they'll be issuing a formal statement of no confidence. By 10:45 p.m., Colleen's campaign Facebook page has 347 comments. Parents share their own stories of family abuse disguised as discipline. Teachers post resources about recognizing signs of controlling behavior. Students thank each other for standing together. At 11:50 p.m., the inevitable happens. Colleen posts a brief statement. Due to a coordinated campaign of defamation, I am withdrawing from the school board race to focus on clearing my name through legal channels. Legal channels, as if the law isn't what exposed her in the first place. Jessica texts me at midnight. Just saw the news. Your parents' lawyer called again. They're desperate to settle before this gets worse. The public humiliation is destroying them. I think about 16-year-old me, crying over my burned birthday cards. 20-year-old me, standing outside in January because I dared to tutor other students. 24-year-old me, watching my prom dress turn to ribbons. Tell them the offer stands, I reply. Public apology, admission of guilt. All terms as stated. The next morning, the Willow Ridge Gazette runs a new headline: Matthews withdraws from school board race amid safety concerns. The article includes a statement from the school board. We thank the community for bringing these concerns to our attention. The safety and well-being of our students must always be our first priority. Emma sends me a photo from the community center. Someone has taped a sign to Colleen's former campaign headquarters. Consequences apply to everyone. For the first time in my life, they finally do. The courtroom feels smaller this time, or maybe I've grown larger than my fear. 2 weeks have passed since Colleen's campaign imploded. Now we're here for the final hearing, the one that will make everything official. Mom sits hunched beside her lawyer, her perfect posture finally broken. Dad stares at his hands like they belong to someone else. Colleen isn't here, her lawyer represents her separately. The family unity they preached, finally fractured beyond repair. Judge Harrison reviews the plea agreement one last time. Mrs. Hart, Mr. Hart, you're pleading no contest to destruction of property, creating a public hazard, and conspiracy to commit harassment. Is this correct? Yes, Your Honor, Mom whispers, the words scraping from her throat like broken glass. The terms include $5,000 in fines to the fire department, $3,000 in restitution to Ms. Hart, completion of a 52-week anger management program, and a 5-year no-contact order. Additionally, you're required to submit a written apology to be entered into the public record. Do you understand? Mom's lawyer nudges her. She nods. I need verbal confirmation. Mrs. Hart. Yes, I understand. The judge turns to me. Ms. Hart, are these terms acceptable? I stand, wearing a new navy dress I made myself this time in celebration. Not secrecy. Yes, Your Honor. Then let's proceed with the apologies. Mom's lawyer hands her a paper. Her hands shake as she reads, I, Evelyn Hart, acknowledge that on May 15th, I willfully destroyed my daughter's property in an act of anger and control. My actions were wrong, dangerous, and caused public harm and personal humiliation. I take full responsibility for my choices and the pain they caused. Each word sounds like it's being extracted with pliers. The court reporter types steadily, making it permanent. Dad's apology is shorter but no less painful for him to deliver. I failed to protect my daughter when she needed me. My silence enabled abuse. I am complicit and accept responsibility. The judge signs the orders. The restraining order is in effect for 5 years from today. Any violation will result in immediate arrest and prosecution. Mrs. Hart, Mr. Hart, I strongly encourage you to use this time for reflection and growth. As we file out, Mom turns one last time. For a second, I see something in her eyes, not love, not even regret, just the bewilderment of someone whose weapon finally turned against them. Outside the courthouse, Jessica shakes my hand. You did it. You held them accountable through the system, not through revenge. 3 hours later, I'm at the university for a different kind of ceremony. The department decided to hold a special reception for the graduates whose celebration was disrupted. It's their diplomatic way of giving me the moment that was stolen. Dr. Rodriguez introduces me to a packed auditorium. Nora Hart isn't just our valedictorian. She's shown us that excellence isn't just about grades, it's about integrity, resilience, and the courage to stand up for yourself. I walk to the podium wearing my reconstructed dress. I'd spent 3 nights taking the salvageable pieces and incorporating them into a new design. The burn marks are still visible, but I've embroidered around them with gold thread kintsugi for fabric, making the breaks beautiful. 4 years ago, I begin. I started this journey in secret. hiding acceptance letters and scholarship applications. Today, I stand here publicly, wearing a dress that tells the whole story: the burns and the beauty, the destruction and the rebuilding. The Silverline team sits in the front row, beaming. My new manager told me yesterday that they're using my story in their diversity and resilience training with my permission. Of course. To anyone watching who's been told they're too much or not enough, who's been forced to make themselves smaller to fit someone else's comfort, you deserve to take up space. You deserve to be seen. And sometimes, the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's simply refusing to let anyone else hold the matches to your dreams. The applause is thunderous. Emma and the nursing students who witnessed everything stand and cheer. Even some faculty members wipe their eyes. After the reception, I drive to my apartment, my name alone on the lease, my choices on every wall. The restraining order is framed next to my degree, not as a trophy but as a reminder I chose the law over lawlessness, accountability over anger. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. I almost delete it, then read, "I'm a senior at Willow Ridge High. I saw your story. My parents have been burning my art supplies every time I mention art school. Today, I hid my portfolio at my counselor's office and started documenting everything. Thank you for showing me how to fight back the right way." I sit at my sewing machine with new fabric, a deep emerald this time, for my first day at Silverline tomorrow. As I guide the fabric through the machine, I think about transformation, how fire can destroy or forge, how threads can bind or create, how sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is refuse to burn back, choosing instead to shine so brightly that those who tried to diminish you are left blinking in your light. The dress comes together perfectly, each stitch a small rebellion made permanent. Tomorrow I'll walk into my new job wearing evidence that some things can't be burned away. Not dreams, not determination, and certainly not the dignity of someone who finally learned that love shouldn't leave scars. The restraining order means I won't see them for 5 years. By then, I'll have built a life so full they wouldn't recognize me anyway. Or maybe they would. Maybe they'd finally see who I was always meant to be, before they tried to burn it out of me. The sewing machine hums its familiar song. Outside, the world continues. And somewhere in Willow Ridge, 3 people are learning that consequences, like fire, don't discriminate. They consume whatever feeds them, even the hands that lit the match. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. Drop a comment below and let's connect. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts. Your own experiences and perspectives mean the world to me. Until next time, remember your story matters, and you deserve to tell it on your own terms.